great to have everyone here back online with us for this version of Métis Coffee Talks. So yeah, we haven't done this online show for a long time. It is Thursday, September 23rd. Before we end the show, I'll show you the updated new Métis Coffee Talk intro that I guess I'll do at the end of the show because we couldn't figure out what was going wrong with technology. But anyway, such a pleasure to be with everyone here this evening. My name's Keith Henry. I'm the president of the BC Métis Federation. And, you know, I've got some great friends that are joining me today as we relaunch this online platform to basically provide news and stories and information for affecting our organization, our partner communities, and our members across British Columbia. So tonight, joining me tonight, I've got our Vice President, Renee Therian. He's joining me live from Terrace, British Columbia. So Renee, do you want to say hi to everyone before we get started this evening?
Hi, everyone. It's nice to be on the first Coffee Talk. It's definitely well missed. It's been on for a year and a half, and now I hope it's here to stay.
So Renee, yeah, it's I jokingly said before the show we're back by unpopular demand. I guess maybe we were popular back in the day.
Oh, I think we were because a lot of people that's where they used to get their information from, and I think that's what they're missing.
Yeah, well, what I want to say, thanks, Renee. I know you've been around the organization from the very inception of us. So hard to believe 10 years later, here we are. Hey, it's 2011.
2011 already, holy. Yeah, it's been 10-year anniversary coming up.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's been 10 years has gone by so fast. Well, Renee, I'll ask you a few more questions later on about what's going on up in Terrace, of course, with the Métis people in their community up there in a few minutes. But I'll come back to you. I want to bring on next is our good friend. He's also part of our cultural package at the BC Métis Federation. He's a board member. He's a well-known Métis fiddler. You know, one of the better ones in this country. Absolutely. I better not say the best because someone might get mad at me if I say you're the best. So who knows? But JJ Lavallee, how are you doing this evening?
I'm great. It's nice to be part of Coffee Talk. Hello, Renee.
Hello. How are you?
Good. Yeah, very nice to be here, Keith. I got the fiddle all warmed up, and it's raring to go.
So where are you joining us from today, JJ?
I'm at home here in Surrey, BC.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you look like you're very Métisized this evening, so that's great.
I'm representing with this new Métis hat here.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And what's that red thing behind you?
That there is the sash, of course.
Yeah.
Usually the fireplace hangs stockings for Christmas, but
yeah,
we're putting the sash there for tonight.
All right. Well, hey, why don't JJ, you start off, you know, part of Métis culture, as we know, was the Métis fiddle. And why don't you start us off with a song as we get Métis Coffee Talk rolling?
All right. How about that? Everyone knows this tune. It's called Big John McNeil, eh? Tap your feet at home if you like, and go ahead and dance in the kitchen if you want to do that too.
Well, JJ, that's some pretty fancy fiddling over there in Surrey this evening. Awesome.
I knocked the switch right off my fiddle. Look at that.
Well, yeah, I saw that. So, you know, JJ, how long you been fiddling for? I know a lot of people know you, but maybe some watching tonight don't know you.
I've been playing well. I can't tell you how long. I'm not that great at math, but I started when I was 23 years old. I started later in life playing the fiddle.
And so what brought you though to playing the fiddle? Like what was the event that changed it so you wanted to learn a bit more about your Métis culture?
Yeah, well, I was, I kind of knew what Métis was and who I was. I was learning. And then at the time, a fellow by the name of the Honorable Yvon Dumont, who many of you here know, he was a friend of my grandfather and a friend of the family. And he approached me a few days before my 23rd birthday. And he says to me, he says, you play guitar, you play fiddle, or you play guitar, you play bass, you play all these instruments. How come you don't play fiddle? And I said, well, I don't have one. So he called me over the day before my birthday and he handed me this fiddle in a case. And he says, if you learn how to play this, he says, I'm giving you 3 months. He says, I want you to learn how to play it. And if you don't come back to me in 3 months playing a tune, I'm going to take it back, he says, and give it to somebody who wants to learn. And that's how the story went. So he actually has me that very, if anyone knows Yvon Dumont, he made me record what I could, And I was trying to play Rubber Dolly. It sounded more like strangling a rubber hose or something. But I was playing that. And so he took a recording of me the very first day. And then I came back in 3 months and I knew how to play Rubber Dolly on the fiddle. And he took a recording of that and the recording is night and day. And he goes, well, I guess you're learning how to play, so you get to keep the fiddle.
Nice. Awesome. Well, we're going to come back to you throughout the show. Get ready for a couple more tunes so we can mix up some of the news and stories with some good old Métis culture. So awesome to have you here tonight. And I know you'll be sort of hosting with me on these shows. So thanks for having me here or having you here.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's going to be great.
Yeah. So Renee, I want to come back to you for a minute. Yeah. So, you're a pretty good fiddle player in your own right up there in Terrace, British Columbia.
Well, I play a little, yeah.
Where's your fiddle tonight? Do you not have your fiddle handy?
I do, yeah, yeah.
Well, we might have to convince you to crack a tune here at some point throughout the show. But why don't we start? One thing that we want to do with Métis Coffee Talk is really just continue to profile people like JJ and yourself that have dedicated your lives to, supporting our community. I mean, you do a lot of work. You've been involved in the Métis movement for several decades now. And Renee, let's just let hopefully people get to know you a bit better tonight. Why don't you talk about where your family's from and what got you into Métis politics?
Well, actually, we're from a little town east of Winnipeg, a little town called Richer. Maybe it's, 300 or 400 people. And then my grandfather came up in 1942 during the war. And then he used to tell me, you might as well come to BC. That's where the big trees are. And of course, I wanted to knock them down. Anyway, so when I was 16, I came up, found a job. And of course, there was all kinds of work. And then all of a sudden, when I was married, there was a fellow called Jody Pierce was in Terrace. And there was a supper, a Métis supper. And I says, let's go and take a look what them guys are up to. Because I didn't think I was one. And then when I called my mother, I said, are we Métis? She said, no, we're not. Anyway, so we went and I got I was elected, believe it or not, that night. And then I got my genealogy and then all of a sudden, here we are, we're Métis.
Well, yeah, it's often the story, people, it's funny because I hear some people say, oh, well, that shouldn't happen, but they don't realize you're the story that we kind of jokingly joke about it, but we listened about, you said with your mother, or in my case, that might've been like my grandmother. That was something they hid. They didn't want to say they were Métis or they were half-breed or they were, indigenous was never the word back in the day. It was either Indian or another sort of past term they called it. But that was very real and the impacts were real to disconnect us from our culture, right? I mean, it's just the story of a lot of our families. I mean, how do you think, what was it like for you to find out later in life? And I know obviously you've got strong, Métis genealogy from Manitoba. What was it like for you later in life to realize, oh, geez, I didn't quite realize this.
No, actually, yeah, exactly. My mother did say though, way back, that of course we are Métis, she says, but I didn't want to say too much because when she was younger, people used to make fun of the First Nation or Métis in them days, and she didn't want us to have the same problem that she had, and that's what was the reason why she didn't want to admit that she was Métis before that.
Yeah. So you, one of the things that people know you very well for in this province is you've become quite, another well-known Métis fiddler, one of the, more iconic fiddlers that we've got. What got you into Métis fiddling?
Actually, my dream was to learn to become a guitar player. And my mother, my grandfather passed away 3 months before I was born. So my grandfather told my mother, she said, "We need a fiddle player." She says, "I'm packing one." And the rest is history.
Wow.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah. And I'm the only one that plays the fiddle in my family or even a relation. I don't know why and she used to send me some tape. She said, "You need to learn how to play the fiddle. Your grandfather, my father," she said, "she played and you got to learn them tunes." She couldn't play, but she could hum all them tunes. And that's where I got my start.
Right. So what does it mean today for you now? You're involved in the local Métis community up in Terrace. I believe the name is the Skeena River Métis Community Association. What do you do with the organization there?
Well, in Terrace, I'm the vice president and Elizabeth Pierce is the president, and we get along real well. We work together. Right now, it's a little harder now because of COVID. We can't meet as much as we used to. Now we got to use the phone. And the organizing is a little tougher, but yeah, it's we struggle a little bit, but we're doing well. But I have to say that I'd like to share something. I'd like to. I met the community after we came back from our meeting in Vancouver, and after sharing my report with, they were very excited. And they were actually expressed their appreciation for the hard work of the BCMF. So anyway, for COVID, a resource that really helps people around Terrace, and it's well needed. So no, we're doing well, and with the help and a little bit of BCMF that Terrace is supporting and working with, I think it's going to go well.
Well, I appreciate that. And what's the cultural event you guys do in every August? What's the name of it for everyone again?
Well, it used to be that the river, we used to have bluegrass sort of a festival. Yeah. And it went for quite a few years, actually, 5 or 6 years, and it was getting quite popular. And but with COVID, that sort of stopped it. Yeah. And now we can't meet as much as we used to. And yeah, it's actually, it's a little harder to get together now.
Yeah. Well, I miss it. I miss, we used to do, as our vice president there, and we used to do, as a federation, we did over our 10 years, we've done a lot of support for summer of culture events. And yeah, the last 2 years, you don't realize how much you miss it till these events aren't possible in the way they used to be. Right. And I used to love coming up to Terrace every August. I used to work in a fishing trip and bring my son and, right. Enjoying Métis culture and connecting with, Elizabeth and Roseanne and, so many of the local Métis families there. And I just really miss it. So we look forward to bringing that back with you guys when we can, right? I mean, that's the easiest way to say it. There are a lot of things I want to talk about tonight, and I'll get into some more shortly. And JJ, you get ready, because we're gonna need another song from you soon. But before we do that, I want to share with everyone, it's September 23rd. In exactly 1 week, we're going to be obviously dealing with a new national day, right? The federal government has approved that September 30th will be a federal holiday in honor of the residential school survivors and the children that were impacted by, and families impacted by residential school. JJ has been a tremendous part of our team for some time now. And I just want to bring back to, we've been working JJ we helped put a video together here not that long ago with JJ about sort of what was happening with residential school survivor, or with residential school. And it was a song that he created a few years ago, and he put it back together for all of us to hear. And I want to play that, and I want to talk about some of the residential school issue to remind people what September 30th is about. So just give me a second. I'm going to bring it back on here.
Of the lost voices in Kamloops and every single residential school across Canada. Why did you have to do those things you done to me? I was just an innocent child. Why couldn't you leave me be? First you took me from my home and my family, and you told me not to speak language that was taught to me. Why did you do what you've done? Now my innocence is gone. I won't ever get those years back now. Where do we go from here? What, why, when, where, how? The time for truth and reconciliation is now. Strip me of my clothes, cut off all my hair, covered me in light, and it burned me everywhere. It beat me if I didn't understand the words you said, and you forced me to sleep with one eye open when I went to bed. So why did you do what you done? Now my innocence is gone. I won't ever get those years back now. Where do we go from here? What, why, when, where, how? The time for truth and reconciliation is now. Creator, keep us safe. Keep us all from harm. We got a long, long way to go, though we've come so far. So where do we go from here? What, why, when, where, how? The time for truth and reconciliation is now.
Oh, let's forget that. Anyways, yeah, that other video jumped in right away, so sorry about that. But I think very powerful video. And JJ, I just want to acknowledge you for that video. I know what was the backdrop of that song? I know you did produce that song a few years ago. What inspired you to do that song?
Well, that song originally, see, as a songwriter, I've written songs where it's literally taken me 10 minutes, and I say it was creative thought. I was trying to write a song. And then there was songs that really, I can't explain where they come from. And a lot of songwriters and artists out there will understand this. But many years ago, Keith, you remember when the Truth and Reconciliation Committee was formed? I believe don't quote me on this, but I think it was when Stephen Harper, he apologized for Canada many, many years ago. I'd say about 10, 12 years ago, maybe. I had been sitting and I saw this stuff coming out on the news and on the headlines. It was a headline back then. And it really hit me because Well, I couldn't, it hit me in a personal way, and it hit me in growing up in a Métis community and hearing stories throughout the years about things that had happened and people close to me and stuff that had went on. And I went to bed and I was having a hard time that week. And I remember waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I had a lived at the top and I had to go down. I went down into the basement so I didn't wake anybody up. And I grabbed my guitar, and here I was on the floor at 3 o'clock in the morning, sitting on the floor with my, and all these words are flooding into me, and I'm writing it down. And next thing you know, I had this song, and it just kind of sat there. I never recorded it. And I just, because it was a touchy song, it's hard for people to hear, and it speaks so much truth. And for some reason, whatever spoke to me to write that song and come up with it, I knew eventually the time and place would be to release it and bring it out. And I think it's important. It's relevant stuff, and it's stuff that we need to talk about. It's a topic that makes people uncomfortable, and it should make you uncomfortable because it wasn't right what happened. But if we can get through this as a people and talk about the uncomfortable topic and get past it, it helps us heal. We got to heal through this process. And I just hope that this song can play a small part in helping people heal through it. I've had some people messenger me, complete strangers. I've talked to members on the phone that just say, your song touched me. I can't believe you were talking about me. And that means that it is impacting people in a positive way. And that's all I could hope for with any kind of music.
Yeah. Well, I really thank you for sharing that story, and it's one of the things that I reflect on. And just as one of the Métis leaders in BC, along with my colleagues, whether it's Renee or JJ or many of you, some of you watching tonight, I want to remind people as well, you can ask us questions on Facebook if you have any questions as we go through this or make any statements. I just want to read a few of them as well, JJ. I'm going to come to this shortly, just a second. I wanted to finish my thought. Do you see various reports out, right? And this residential school next week, September 30th, is so important. And it saddens me that we seem to have lost sight of how many children have been lost during the residential school impacts. And the thing is that I think a lot of people, as Métis people, we also had many of our families attend residential school, whether it was day school or some shipped out to various schools. And the current number that's out there, one of the numbers is, the TRC, the Truth and Reconciliation Report, estimated that there was roughly 3,213 children that passed away in residential school. Right now, they found tons, as we know. It's been in the media. It was when Kamloops first came out, we released that song again with JJ. But look how many more children have been, and how many bodies have been discovered at various residential school locations in the country so far, and this is growing. And you start to look at that top line number of roughly about 5,000 unmarked graves, and you ask yourself, how many of those were connected to some of our Métis ancestors? How many of those were also part of that? Because I know for a fact there was. In our various families, we know people that attended residential school. We don't know all necessarily the stories or negative impacts, but we need to find out. And it's disappointing to me so far in public Canadian consciousness that or in the media, there seems to be a disinterest. It's always focused on other issues, but this is quite a, when we talk about genocide, I don't think Canada's come to grips with understanding the truth of what that actually means. And this is what it means. These were bodies discarded, that they were unmarked graves. And if it would happen to anyone else in this world, we would hear a lot about it. So, I just want to say thanks, JJ. There's a reason why we're focusing on that to begin with today. Next week, some of our Métis communities in BC are also, taking their time to commemorate. And I just want to say on a personal level, I want to remind people, it's not a celebration day. It's not a day where you go partying. This is a day it's like a Remembrance Day. You commemorate the lost little souls that were impacted by that. But JJ, I just want to let you know, people are watching. And, one of the comments here from Mr. Jerry Pilon, It was a wonderful song and very teary-eyed, but so much meaning in the words. And speaking for the ones that passed and also to the survivors, the voice is needed to be heard so much more, or much more. So thanks, Jerry, for writing. I think that's important, and it's important we hear that amongst our membership. These are important issues to talk about, and it's important for us to support each other. So just want to say how much I appreciate, and these are the hard facts of it. Renee, your family experience, was there any residential school things that you are able to share, or families you know that may have been impacted growing up in Manitoba, or was that an issue for the smaller communities in Manitoba where you grew up?
Well, my dad went to residential school, but he never wanted to talk about it. So really, that's the only one that I heard of, but he never wanted to talk about it.
Yeah. Obviously, Renee, I know that your own school experience, right? I mean, people, I just think hopefully understand how important it is that this did impact Métis families as well, and I think that's what I'm just trying to make sure that our people watching tonight realize. September 30th in a week is a very important day for all of us for a lot of reasons, and I know Métis that feel that this is more of a First Nation issue, but it's not. It's a Métis issue as much as it is anyone's issue. So. But let's talk about how this does. Renee, do you know how the Orange Shirt Day started? Do you have an awareness of the history of that at all?
No, I don't know, to be honest. Well,
no worries. You know what? Because I think that's part of what I wanted to do tonight was help people understand, how did this start? Like, Orange Shirt became a movement in roughly 2013. And let me just share a little bit of history on this. Everyone's been moving towards this, and hopefully next Thursday, all of us are wearing our orange shirts. It was the legacy of the St. Joseph Mission Residential School commemoration project and reunion events that took place in Williams Lake, BC in May 2013. Orange Shirt Day is the vision of Alkali Lake Chief Fred Robbins, a survivor of residential school. The orange shirt represents the story of Phyllis Jack, or Webstad, who on her first day at residential school had her bright new orange shirt taken away from her. It was given her by her grandmother. She was 6 years old. So it was born out of a research project in 2013. It was a legacy design project. It was, it specifically came out of British Columbia, which is nice to see that it came out of the province here, I guess, for those that are watching NBC today. And it's just really, I want to make sure everyone understands how this came about. And it took a number of years. It was from this grew a bunch of ongoing conversation around the murdered and missing Indigenous women work that was done, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. And one of the recommendations within the 94 of the TRC, released a few years ago now by former Senator Sinclair, one was to designate September 30th as a federal statutory holiday in recognition of residential school survivors. And so that's been accomplished, I'm thinking, but I don't know if at the time Chief Fred Robbins realized the movement that he would start. So it's nice to see where it is today. I don't want to spend too much more time on that, but I just want to say to all of you, next Thursday, we certainly encourage all of you to certainly, support how you can wear your orange shirt and help people understand in your networks and your families and everyone around you, why this is important to us and why it should be a day. I do want to acknowledge as well, there's one event that I want to specifically point to. I know that President from Clearwater, Cindy, is watching tonight, Cindy Wilgosh, from our colleagues at the Aboriginal Center in Clearwater, and this is one of the many events next week, and they're having an orange shirt, National Truth and Reconciliation Day, and Orange Shirt Day on Thursday, September 30th, 11 till 4. It's at the Dutch Lake Community Center Field, 209 Dutch Lake Road, Clearwater, BC. So they're inviting people. There's limited of 100 due to obviously the public health restrictions. It'll start at 11 o'clock, and it's certainly they've got a number of events and sort of things to commemorate and remember and pay respect to the day that it is. We at the Federation are proud to support not only this event, but this is one of the events we're supporting with Cindy and in the Métis, one of our partner communities. I just want to say thank you, Cindy, for doing this work next week, and thank you for bringing more public recognition to that. As they say, every child does matter, including the connection to our current contemporary Métis children out there in the public watching. So just want to say thanks and good luck with your event next week. So now let's go to it's a pretty heavy subject. It's one that many people will reflect, but I'm going to ask JJ, why don't you bring us back a little more fun and festive music, maybe? I don't know which one. You can decide. And Renee, do you have a fiddle you want to play at all this evening?
I could probably try and scratch one, yes.
Well, we'll do it a little. You'll be you better get on deck here. You better get ready because we're gonna show people some fun music tonight. So JJ, over to you.
All right. Let's call this. This is a tune I made. It's called Vive le Métis.
Right on, JJ. Right on.
Nice. Very nice.
So that was called Viva le Métis.
Vive le Métis.
Vive le Métis. Okay, well, I better get that right. So let me ask you this, Renee. You're one of our best Métis. You're more of the French Métis speaking, which is what I grew up with. But we've got a new tagline. You can see it behind me on our banners. Why don't you tell everyone how to say that?
Les temps passés, les temps qui viennent.
And that means?
Yeah, well, now I got to translate it.
Right here. It's right here. It's right on the screen. From our past
from our past to our future, right. Les temps passés, les temps qui viennent. From our past for our future.
All right. Well, I didn't want to turn this into a Métis fiddle contest, but I see the fiddle being brought up, Renee. So I heard a pretty good one from JJ. So we better see what you can do up there in Terrace, okay?
Well, the one that I'm going to play that is my most request tune when I used to travel the bluegrass circuit there, and it's called Cajun Fiddle.
Oh, right. This is a good one. Wow. Right on. Some Cajun fiddling. Wow, this is forget the rest.
I don't know why, but that was the most request tune.
It's got a lot of it's good tempo. It really picks up a room, right? So anyways.
Yeah, it's sort of Cajun type music.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks, Renee. So Renee, have you seen our new newsletter? We came out with an updated newsletter. I hope that members have seen it from the BC Métis Federation. I'm not sure if you've seen it yet.
No, I haven't.
Oh, I better quit asking you questions. I should have prepped you a little bit on these questions. So I'm sure everyone has seen, the Federation. We've been a bit low key this last number of months. We've been trying to reorganize, regroup, pardon me. And we've launched our new website. I know a number of members saw that and attended our special general meeting not that long ago. This is, we're very proud of our new website, but, just this week we released the new monthly newsletter. And you go on our website. If you go on the home page, I was just there just to help you navigate our site again. Go on the home page. We put out sort of the top news stories. This is our new one, our newsletter. and certainly you can go here and download. We want the communities to feel that they can download this, print it off, and and give it out to their members at local community meetings, of course. I have to say, though, we're really proud of the work we've been doing. We've been really putting our nose to the grind. We've been delivering a number of projects, a lot of sort of COVID support for our members, very important. But membership has grown over 227% over last year, this year. So I think people being at home has helped them be a little more focused on getting their membership in. So we've really seen a substantial increase. We've been introducing in our newsletter a little bit we call board member minute. So that's why, Renee, we wanted you to be on the show today. We were, reminding our members of who their leadership are, that we elect our board every 2 years. We'll have an election. We have an AGM coming up soon, but it won't be an election year. The election is next year in 2022. So I just wanted to make sure members know about the different board members. We've really organized. We've had a lot of operational changes in the organization, new roles, new responsibilities. We've expanded. So JJ's taken on the role of culture and community coordinator. We want our partner communities to reach out to us, let us know what JJ can do, whether it's, JJ, I know you're working on some big plans to work with the communities. And our partner, maybe share a little bit about, not too much because we're still sorting it out, but some ideas of what you're going to be doing in that role.
Yeah, thanks, Keith. Yeah, we're really excited. I've been talking with some of our partner communities through this whole pandemic here, and with our planning. And we really want to engage the community members, and we want to bring them as part. It's going to be basically revitalizing our culture in these communities, and we're going to try and do that through music, definitely. And I me, I'm a strong advocate for music. I mean, every day people get up and 90% of the population get in their vehicle and they turn on their radio, and what's on the radio is music, and music, especially with the Métis people, it has been our godsend in many ways. It's kept our people alive through these hardships. So we want to revitalize that fiddle. So if you don't mind, I can talk about a little bit. We are planning on bringing some fiddle lessons. We're hoping that takes off. We're going to talk to our members. I've spoken with several members, key leaders in the communities, and they're going to be talking to their membership in the area and see if there's a growing interest. And I did speak to Elizabeth. Elizabeth said that she's quite sure there's going to be a strong following. People would really want to do that, especially now people are stuck at home with COVID, and we're going to try and accommodate, rather it be on the ground in the community or directly via Zoom. So that's just one of the ideas. And there's more than one. Music is just a large part of our culture, but there's also, we want to incorporate other things like recipes. Some of our members have said, can we do recipe sharing? Can we come up with maybe a community garden? Can we talk about weaving and sashing? And so there's so many ideas that we want to bring together and talk with the community leaders and say, on an individual basis, what does your community need? What's the consensus, and what can we bring, and how can we share our resources, and how can we help to bring your needs and your wants to your community? And we want to incorporate the music, right back to the music again. We want to incorporate that because that's what brings people together. And Rennie, you and I, I'm not calling us old, but we're not getting any younger. And we want this music to last for another 150, 200, 1,000 years. We want this fiddle music to keep going. So we want to start bringing up some younger ones, and we want to keep passing on this tradition of the Métis fiddle and the Métis music, so future generations can share it and keep it alive. It's like the language. You've done some wonderful work with the language, and that in key with the music, it's exactly what we need to do. And I'm really excited to hit the ground running, Keith, and try and get some of these projects up and running in the communities.
Perfect. So just bringing us back to the site for a second. So that's one of the new roles we've implemented. So now JJ's taking on a really significant full-time role with us to do that. We're expanding in the area. We're involved in a number of industry projects, whether it's TC Energy, North River Midstream. There's a number of projects. We're leading engagement, new traditional knowledge studies. We're doing a ton of work around employment and coordination. I can't stress enough, if members are looking for employment, we have a coordinator on our team now, and you can certainly email Karen. All our contact information is on our website. We've helped place roughly 70 people to employment in the last few months. So I know a lot of people have been hit hard by COVID. We want to remind people that we have these supportive services out there. We're doing a lot of work in the area of new partnerships and procurement for economic development, and we've been very successful in this last little while. And if you choose to attend our annual general meeting coming up soon, you'll get a lot more insights into that. I won't get into that tonight. We've advanced our research department. We're one of the only Métis organization doing extensive research on the ground for British Columbia Métis. And we feel very proud of that. Our research director, Joe Desjardins, is working with Dr. Bruce Shelby, and we've now brought on a GIS consultant who's helping us with that, map things out and continuing to build that really historic understanding of our families and their experiences as in this area of Northwest that you might want to, before it was British Columbia. JJ talked about it, our director of Michif language. So Renee, as our vice president, also has the portfolio for Michif language. We've done extensive work that some of you may have seen. It's talked a bit more in the newsletter, but a lot of work with our team, and we're expanding our team. We're doing a lot around curriculum development per se. Maybe Renee, just a quick commentary on that, your role with Michif languages last year, and how we've taken a totally different approach to helping to teach Michif language and the dialect we've decided on.
Okay, we started with Michif language kindergarten to grade 6, actually, and that went well. It was an eye-opener for me, actually, because I had to learn so much. And I had the pleasure to work with an awesome team, dedicated Métis on that project. So, no, it went well. Everybody worked hard. The curriculum was wrapped around these stories to begin teaching, learning children and adult basic word of Michif French. So we did good. We finished that one, and now we're on the phase 3, Michif language curriculum, grade 7 to grade 12. And we're doing good. Jeannie is on top of it, and we have somebody else working with us. Her name is Helen, and I think we hit the road running.
Awesome. Well, certainly very much appreciate the work you guys are doing in Michif language. And again, we'll get a lot more insight at our upcoming annual general meeting that then we'll share a bit more of the tools. And I would just encourage people to watch our website. A lot of this information is posted in other areas. We're continuing to implement our child welfare systems. Unfortunately, we're dealing with members that continue to face serious challenges. A lot of us, I won't get into the confidentiality of some of the clients and some of what our membership are facing dealing with MCFD and the non-Indigenous sort of industry, but it's really, a lot of people compare this to the ongoing impacts of the residential school. It's they're doing it through another system, right? They're taking children out. And I think we have a lot of families that are dealing with that. And we just want you to know we are trying our best to work through this. We're trying to raise this issue of making sure that the BC Métis Federation is involved in those situations, and that we have other solutions before they start removing our children and putting them with non-Métis families. But there's other issues with that, but I just want to say that's a big one for us. And I won't get into too much more, but our director of communications here obviously is on the line here with Cassandra. She's a new member of our team, and we're super happy to have her on board. She's a Métis person too. We were happy to look out to the network and find a Métis person that's trying to continue to connect with our culture and community. So it's great to have her here. So, and on that note, I just want to remind people, we are looking for 2 positions right now in our newsletter. It's there, and we've been posting it. A finance clerk. We'd love to hire a Métis finance clerk. If you have friends, family, people that want to work with our team, we're expanding. We got a number of new programs and services, but that means a lot more accounting. So it's it's not my fish. It's not my kettle of fish, if you can say it that way. But we're looking for an accountant or a finance clerk that can help us with finance, and we're also looking for another industry engagement assistant. So and the finance clerk would work in the office here in Vancouver. The industry engagement assistant could be a combination of working some in the office and remotely. So, we hope people spread the word, come join the Federation team. We've expanded, we've grown, and we're going to continue to grow. We've got a lot of exciting things in front of us. So, the newsletter goes on to talk about things like we've already talked about tonight, so I won't say much more, but, I do continue to urge us all to recognize next week on the 30th with National Truth and Reconciliation Day. We did talk in the newsletter a little about some of the success in procurement and the industry engagement update we have. I'm really happy. I just want to say one particular group I'm super proud of. They're a Métis company out of Kamloops, Mar West. They've been awarded a lucrative pipe hauling contract, and site was awarded 2 contracts. These are contracts that the Federation, through our various engagement agreements with certain industry partners, helped secure. We're very proud of that. It's going to lead to major opportunities and new jobs for some of the local Métis people there, and we continue to do that kind of work quietly behind the scenes. So very excited. I know some of you may or may not realize all the other work we're doing, but anyways, I do want to as well remind people, if you have friends and family, we are going out and we've been continuing to do what we call these job and procurement fairs. So the next one will be next week on Monday, September 27th from 7 till 9 at the Prestige Hotel in Cranbrook. So if you got Métis friends and family that want to come out, we're looking for people to promote employment and procurement opportunities. So that's contracts, business on the business side. And then on Tuesday, September 28th, our team will be in Creston. So September 27th in Cranbrook, September 28th in Creston. And, you'll get out and meet our team, whether it's Greg, Taylor, Karen, or Sherry from the office. We're going to have people there. And just remember, ideally, what we really want you to do is register in advance. And the reason why that is because we got to meet COVID requirements with public health and these kind of gatherings. And it's you can see how to register in advance, g.missouri@bcmétis.com. You can give them a call at 778-363-3847. And if you want to learn more, you can go to the website and /jobs. So very straightforward. I also want to continue in the newsletter. We continue to promote things like membership, right? I really hope people are continuing to want to become members. We've been seeing 227% growth this year compared to last year at this time. We are growing and expanding. We just encourage people to get their membership. And finally, on the newsletter, we do talk a lot about the COVID-19 community support. Right now, we are absolutely pushing as hard as we can. We're helping about 350 families directly at the Federation with food security. This has really been a process we've been working on. This is the 3rd round of support we're providing to families that have lost jobs, that are in financial need. And we're working, we have a coordinator following up, calling those families, reconnecting, making sure they have things changed. Do they not need the resources? Because we got other families that might need it. Just let the coordinator know. The name is Kevin. That'll be getting a hold of all of those people. He should have had phone calls already. We've also provided some COVID relief funding to our partner communities, and those checks have been sent out or being sent out as we speak. So there's 2 ways we're supporting the members directly, and it's about $300 per individual in that case for food security, and then the other is $6,000 to the partner communities to help them support their local needs of those other members that may or not have our Federation card. So, we just continue to encourage people to get membership, be involved, let us know what's going on. I guess I shouldn't have said finally, because I do want to acknowledge, I don't want to get too much into this, but in the newsletter, we do a piece on research, and thank you, Joe Desjardins, he's our Director of Research. He's doing tremendously exciting work around, again, repatriating a lot of the knowledge of the Métis people and our families in this province. And Joe's going to join me next month, and we'll get more of an update specific on the research, but we're very excited to see Joe take this on full time with his team. And, he's working on this quietly all the time, and he's been doing and amalgamating all this data and information and making history exciting. Well, for him anyways. It's a very important work, Joe. So thank you for the work you're doing. And all joking aside, we really appreciate it. We know how important that work is to the future of what we do in our place in Métis and as Métis in this province. So, that's it. I just encourage people to get out, read the newsletter if you haven't seen it on our site. I encourage you to download it, print it, and I encourage our partner communities to have it out there with their to their members at their next local meeting. So that's really sort of it on the newsletter side. Lots of information there. I didn't want to go through too much more of it in the interest of time. But, I do want to acknowledge, I want to thank people. We have quite a few. I don't know if you guys are following along on Facebook there, Renee and then Joe, but we had someone tuning in from Manitoba. We have someone tuning in from Alberta. We've got some people from different parts of British Columbia, northern British Columbia, some old friends and family on here. So it's great to have everyone that's been following along. So yeah, it's I guess Métis Coffee Talk was missed by our core group here. But Renee, why don't we come back to you for a few minutes, and then we'll get you to do. Can you give us one more Métis tune tonight?
I can, yeah.
But first, before we do that, so you've volunteered a lot of years. You've been rarely compensated for the work you do. What drives you to stay involved in the Métis organizations and contributions to our culture? What keeps you going?
Well, we got to keep our culture and our language going. And being a Métis, it's pretty well so far that's what I'm living for. And what my mother and my grandmother went through, I didn't witness all of that. But being a Métis, I'm proud of being a Métis.
Nice. Well, why don't you, you've been a vice president with me for a long time. I just want to acknowledge the countless hours of dedication you've brought forward. And as an elder, I respect the work you do, and I just really appreciate all your efforts. I look forward. I know we're going to be I'm coming up to Terrace, I hope one of these days, hopefully, and going to meet with the Skeena River Métis Community Association, Elizabeth and the board and yourself. What's I know it's tough because you mentioned COVID. How are you guys getting through up there right now? How does COVID impact you guys?
It is impacting us right now. We're trying to find a venue where we could host it. And right now they're putting a limit on it. So hopefully we could find one that we could have at least a few dozen, so we could have an AGM, so we could invite you and to chair our meeting. And we're actually looking for that.
Nice. Well, always happy to go up there. But Renee, we got to get one more fiddle tune out of you today. So, and then JJ, you be ready on deck, because we might have to do some judging here. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I got to like you both because I got to work with you both anyway. So, but what are you going to play for us, Renee?
Right now, this tune here, I don't know where I got it. I don't know if I woke up with it, but it's a little tune that I've been practicing for the last couple of days just to see if I'm able to play it. And there is no name for it. At least I never found it.
Well, thank you, Renee. And Renee, I hope you'll come back and join me on a future show, okay?
Yes, definitely. Thank you for inviting me.
Any final comments you want to say to everyone watching tonight?
Well, I think a lot of information was on this coffee talk. And anytime I share fiddle tunes with JJ, it's always a good day.
Yeah, awesome. That's great. Well, thanks, Renee. Really awesome tune. And just for the record, Renee, I always find it fascinating. You don't read notes. You just play by ear, right?
By ear, yes.
Yeah, my grandfather was the same way. And it's funny, when I went to school, they tried to think I was going to be a musician, and I started learning music as a kid. I couldn't read notes, but I could play it if I heard it, right? And I find that awesome. So many Métis fiddlers I meet like you, they don't read a stitch of it off a sheet. They just go by sound and the tempo, right? You just naturally pick it up.
get used to it, I guess. I don't know. Can't explain it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I remember reading music when I was a kid and I was like, I don't understand these dots and bars and I have no idea what this means, but play it for me once, I'll remember it. And I noticed that about you. You're always, that's how I watch you. I watch how you do it. So that's amazing. So thanks for sharing your talent with us, my friend.
You're welcome.
Yeah. JJ, I don't know. That's a tall order now. It's, Renee's kicked off two pretty good tunes. I mean, we'll try and end the show shortly. So what are you going to finish off with us tonight?
Well, I just want to reiterate on what Rennie, you were saying about listening and stuff. You know, when I was really small, I used to watch my uncles and stuff, and they used to play music, and I'd say, I want to do that when I get older. And they'd look at me and they'd say, then listen. Right? Watch and listen. And that's exactly how a lot of us do. I mean, I can say to Rennie, hey, Rennie, did you hear this tune? And I'll just play something on the fiddle. And he'll say, oh, yeah, I've heard that. And then he'll grab his fiddle. And it's exactly how we do it. I don't know how we do it, but I think it has something to do with just listening. And it also having the music in your in the blood, having it in your soul. That's something that you can't buy with money. I'll tell you that.
Okay, so what are you going to play for us there, Mr. Valley?
Jimmy's Breakdown. It's another one of my tunes that I made. I dedicated it to my grandfather, Jimmy LaValle. He had over 20 kids with my grandmother. So here you go.
Wow. That was pretty good. It kind of reminds me of the way I used to play.
Hey, you know what? I keep telling you, we got a jam.
It won't be much of a jam for me, but it'll be a good jam for you for sure. Awesome. That was amazing, buddy. So, thanks, JJ. I know it's been an hour, so I just want to look, everyone, we're really happy to be back. We're committed to doing the show once a month. We feel that that's the appropriate amount of time. I hope you got reminders of things like membership. September 30th, Truth and Reconciliation Day next week, how important that is. We want you to get involved with our culture. We want you to understand how the Federation is growing. We do have an annual general meeting coming up, and on the next webinar, I'll certainly share more details on that. But a lot is changing for the Federation. We've maintained new relationships with the federal government that we've kept pretty low key because we just want to get caught up in negative politics with the other organizations out there. We've engaged in new discussions with the province of BC. We've never been more stable in terms of project and funding support. And we've done a lot of economic development that's actually going to help us be quite a bit much more sustainable than we ever have been. And 10 years ago to where we are today, what a journey, what an incredible, successful journey it's turning out to be. And I tell you, I will end the show with this. What we're trying to show everyone tonight is how important it is for culture. The Federation's number one value is to support culture, whether it's language or music. We're trying to incorporate, like you see behind me, le temps passé, le temps qui vient, or the way people say, which is proud to be Métis, right? And we're trying to help people understand that that's what really this is about for our Métis governance and our Métis and what we do. And if we don't do more to support that, then really, what are we? And I think hopefully you're seeing that in the kind of work you're seeing here tonight. you know, we're not perfect. We're working our way through governance, and we're working our way through stabilizing organization, but a lot is really going in a good direction right now. And we just hope people want to get involved and see and become part of a really positive cultural movement. The last big project I'm going to talk about before I call it a night is the fact is, I've talked about it a little bit at the special general meeting. We're making considerable strides on what we call Project Coming Home. And I know there's discussions by various organizations to do something in terms of cultural centers and things like that. But we're not waiting for government or anyone else to do it. We're working on a project that's going to bring a cultural center to British Columbia for our people, and something we hope can be made for the public. So we're very excited about that. I don't want to overcommit right now because we're working our way through what that's going to look like, but we're extremely, extremely proud of what we're going to try and do on that. And so hopefully you'll want to be at the next AGM to hear a little bit more about what exactly does that mean. So yeah, with that, JJ, any final words you want to say to everyone?
Yeah, well, Renee, it was awesome seeing you and listening to you play again. I still remember our last meeting there when I brought the guitar and the fiddle and we got to jam. That was really fun. I can't wait till we get to do that again. And Keith, thank you for having me on the show. I just want to say to our members and everybody out there watching and listening, shoot me an email at j.lavely at bcmétis.com with your comments. If there's something you want in your community culturally, if you need any help culturally, if you have any ideas, we're here. We want to help, and we want to hear your comments. You're on the ground in your communities, and we want to know what you think you need there. It's easy for us to guess what you need, but we want to hear right from you. We want to hear directly, and we want to help the best we can. So go on our website and shoot us some emails. Let us know your comments and how we can help, because we're here to help.
Perfect. Renee, I know I said before, but any actual final comments you want to say? Sorry, my friend.
Well, no, thank you for having me again. And anytime that I could jam with JJ is always nice. So next time I'm in Vancouver, I'll definitely drop in.
Well, yeah, it was a pretty fancy show tonight. I don't know how we're going to top this one. I don't know if I can play a recorder on the next one or not, but we'll figure something out. Anyways, thanks you. Yeah, the spoons. I can figure that one out. But thanks, you guys. Great night. Really appreciate everyone being here. You know, follow us on Facebook. You know, sign up for our email distributions, and yeah, look forward to talking to everyone soon at our next Métis Coffee Talk in October. So for that, my name's Keith Henry. I'm the president of the BC Métis Federation. Have a great night, and look forward to seeing you out on the Métis trails. Good night, everyone.